Okay, so my maximum file size was reached for a video, so that's why that cut off there. But I deleted tons and tons of videos, and now we're back at it. Back at it. Like a jackrabbit with a crack habit. Alright, and harvesting the rest of these radishes. Then we've got one more tray of radishes and a tray of broccoli. And we'll be all done. Just have to throw it in the fridge, and we will be all set. I'm tempted, very tempted to find somewhere to dispose of the soil and start new trays. It is very tempting, even though it's pretty late and I should be in bed already. I do want to do that. We will see. We will see if I can come up with some idea. Then we'll do that. Okay, that is basically all of the radishes from this tray. We'll get the other one harvested here. And nice little, it says 6 ounce, but it's much smaller than the other ones. Okay. So, put this down here with the other expended tray. Slide this other radish pile over here. And get started on that. Okay. So yeah, eventually I want to start distributing this at farmers markets, and at the farmers markets we will gather information and build a subscriber base. People can subscribe to our farm just like a Netflix subscription or something, and receive their microgreens every week or 2 weeks. And at that point, we can start generating some income to grow the business. More and more until we can hire some employees maybe, or do this full time. But there are always things to consider, such as health insurance and things like that, benefits that you get from a normal 9 to 5. Not going to be getting those with a microgreens business, so it's going to have to be factored in to the expenses. Is how are we going to pay for healthcare and retirement and all that fun stuff that you don't really think about until it's usually too late. But yeah, we're going to try and factor that in. So yeah, building up a subscriber base, possibly selling to restaurants, although we will have to be getting less money for that because we'll have to sell it wholesale. To the restaurants, as well as grocery stores if we end up doing that. hope is there that you can build up some a steady customer base with the restaurants and grocery stores. But of course, there's no guarantee that they're going to keep buying your product. If they find something cheaper or they just change the menu, you could lose a customer anyway by selling to the restaurants and grocery stores. So I don't want to lose that option. I want to keep that in the back pocket. But I suppose my preference would be to sell to just regular people and kind of along the way teach them how to do it, which, of course will decrease our customer base a little bit on that end. So eventually we might have to move into grocery stores and restaurants as a main, but a lot of people just aren't going to want to take the time and effort to do all this stuff and buy a dehumidifier and all of the expenses that come along with growing a crop of something. There is some work involved, and not everybody's going to want to do that. A lot of people are just going to want to pay somebody else to do that, and that's fine. There are a lot of areas in my life where I do that. Saves time, and not everybody has the time to devote to food cultivation. So that's why we're here. We'll help those people out, and also supplement other farmers, other producers and sellers that would like to make their product line more robust. One example of that in my own experience is me and my mom, when we used to do the farmers markets together, we would sell eggs and make bread and sell tomato plant starts. There we go, nice little package of radishes there in an old strawberry container. And so we would sell tomato starts and eggs and bread, and we would also go to the local strawberry farmer and get their permission to sell their strawberries at the farmer's market. And it was a loss leader. They would always sell out, right? People loved them. But since we were already purchasing them, wasn't necessarily the most profitable thing as far as the turnaround. But it was worth it because it drove customers to our stand. And they could look at our other products and, maybe we want some eggs, maybe we want some bread too. Maybe we want to try growing some tomatoes. So that was a very useful tactic. And, you notice in grocery stores, any store really, the design of the store is designed so that customers will have to navigate the store in order to get the thing that they want. You always notice the milk is always at the back of the store. So everybody buys milk. Everybody needs milk. And the reason that is, that the milk is at the back of the store, is because it drives the majority of the customer base through the aisles, right? And it's kind of that phenomenon of, you came to the store for 2 things, but you end up leaving with 10. because, you know, you're going through the aisles and you notice, oh yeah, I need some guacamole. Oh yeah, it would be nice to have some chips, and maybe since I've got chips, I'll buy some salsa. And you're sort of, oh, maybe I'll get a 2-liter. We're barbecuing this weekend, and you just end up buying a lot of stuff that you just forgot that you needed, or maybe you don't need. But you could say it's manipulative, but it's sort of a soft, non-intrusive manipulation that actually ends up being somewhat beneficial for the customer, because they find a bunch of stuff that they forgot they needed. So, yeah. So I used to get mad at that, right? Why do I have to go through the whole store to get to the milk? But now that I have a little bit of spending money to spend on food, I actually appreciate. I should probably just build a shopping list and just get the things on the shopping list, but I guess I'm a lazy shopper. I just go to the store and I'll just see what I need. I'll just walk through the whole store and just get everything I need. So, there we go. We've got another thing of radishes. We're almost done with the radishes. We have run out of containers. So now we're going to have to move on to these quart baggies. And I could put a napkin in there or something in order to soak up the moisture, but I'm going to, I might do that later. But for now, we're just going to harvest and bag it. This is going to take a little bit longer than the containers, unfortunately, because we have to manipulate the bag. Unless there's some hack that I'm not thinking of. But for now, we're just going to live with it. Nothing is as easy as you want it to be. That's just a fact of life. Nothing goes as fast as you want. Nothing is as easy as you want. But that's how it is, and that's probably better that way. Okay. So I am developing a little bit of a technique here. I will grab a large handful of them at the leaves, but then I'm only cutting a little portion on the end so that I can sort of angle the scissors as I cut the rest towards the bottom. So I'm getting a little bit more efficient already. That's always nice. I got some of these stragglers in there. And again, we're going to be washing these before use, not before storage. So we want them to last as long as possible. And from what I've read, washing them before storage is going to decrease the shelf life quite a bit. So, it might cause some complications as far as selling them, because we'll have to either sell them very quickly or tell people to wash them. But, you know, people do that anyway, right? With strawberries and anything you're getting from the store, grapes and lettuce. I mean, you should be washing that stuff. God knows what they're spraying on it. And what kind of bugs are crawling around on it and pooping on it. But this stuff should be relatively clean. Aside from my grubby little fingers. I did wash my hands before this to keep it as clean and fresh as possible, but you know, nothing is perfect, and we'll want to wash that before you put it on anything, I would think, just to be safe. Of course, we did bottom watering, so everything will be as sanitary as possible with the least amount of mold. But yeah, so we're not going to make it airtight. We're going to put some air in there. From what I've read, that is the best thing to do for the longevity of the plant, the product. So, bust out some more bags. We're almost done. Just one more tray of broccoli. And then, man, I'm so tempted to just start 4 more trays. I do have to figure out how I'm going to clean these, though. I suppose I could bleach them and rinse them in the sink. That might be what we're going to do until we get an adequate bin that we can soak them in. We'll just hit them with bleach, let them sit for a little bit, and then rinse it off real good in our utility sink. Pretty sure that's the method we're going to use for now. Nothing is perfect right away. You got to work up to perfection, and this is no different. Just like anything in life, there's going to be some tangles, going to be some roadblocks, there's going to be some little gremlins in the wires, but we'll try to reduce that as much as possible going forward. And as far as I know, everybody just uses knives or scissors in order to harvest this stuff, but my mind, my lazy monkey brain doesn't like that very much. I'm wondering if there's a quicker method that we could use eventually, involving some sort of single cut technology or something. We could get some lasers, throw it on a laser rail. I don't know. I do not know. But for now, we're just doing it the old-fashioned way, busting out the scissors. I think the scissors are working a lot more easily than the knife, as far as I can tell. Pulling up some roots. Alright. I think we'll do a couple more runs here, pick up some of the stragglers. And then we will start another bag. I feel like I'm losing quite a bit as well, just stuff that's dropping in my grip, but it might just be sort of negligible. A negligible amount of loss. That should be a good amount in that bag. Nice little broccoli. Broccoli microgreens. Alright, so we'll probably fill up 2 more bags. and we will be done harvesting all these plants. I'll give you a little view. I wish I had some lighting up above here and something to hold this phone with. So yeah, investing in a tripod, that will be something I need to do. Tripod, sump pump. What else? I can smell the broccoli. It is like really strong broccoli. It does smell a little bit spicy. Spicy. Caliente. Okay. Okay, I can pick up some of the stragglers here as we go along. And yeah, not the most exciting of videos, but for me it's very exciting. Getting all of this harvested. It actually worked. That's amazing. We're actually harvesting microgreens. I'm having a moment. As they say, having a little moment here. And if I wasn't bent over and my back didn't hurt, this would be even better, but that's okay. You know, that just adds to the experience. Makes it even more rewarding when I get it all cut up. So get as much as we can here. And yeah, all right. Try to detangle that from there. Ooh, we got a nice handful there. Yeah. So the stems are getting longer. I'm getting better at my cutting technique. That's good. I might actually get 2 more bags here. Try to position this so you can see it. And I'll start from down here. Eventually I'll weigh this. Well, I do have a scale down here. I guess I probably should have thrown all of this in a bowl or something and weighed it out. But we'll do that. We'll shoot for that for the next harvest. We'll see how much weight in microgreens we can grow in one tray. And how it varies depending on the crop. And we'll do some research on pricing by weight, because I think that's going to be important for the container reclamation program. If people are, especially if people are bringing in their own containers, right? We can weigh the container, zero the scale, and sell the microgreens by weight, just like many other plants that you would buy at the store, such as tomatoes or grapes, or often things are sold by weight, and we will try to do that. Oh, the cats are whining for me upstairs. They want to go to bed. They want to cuddle up in bed. So, and we'll be up there in a second. Yeah, it's really funny, their sense of They love bedtime. They love they love snuggling up in the sheets and taking a big nap. Taking a big nap with their big buddy, their master, their guardian. I never was a house pet person. I was very much against house pets. But recently, over the years, I have grown to love my little kitties. And I think a lot of people take it a little bit, they go a little bit over the line, and, end up replacing real human connection with animals, but doesn't mean there's not a place for them in our lives. And I guess especially when you live alone, it's nice to have some life around. I do live alone right now, and trying to find a lady in my life, but not running around with a chicken with my head cut off. I'm not too worried about it. Not desperate to fill the void with something that might be unhealthy or unproductive. I think it's important to have a lot of self-control and deference for the future when it comes to picking your mate, because you can definitely destroy a lot of time and resources and mental health by picking the wrong person, which I have done many times. But anyway, so that is our 4 flats of microgreens harvested. Let's put everything on the rack there so that we can see. So these are our radishes, broccoli. Let's see, what is that? Broccoli. And broccoli. Our radishes down here. Radishes. More radishes, lots of radishes. And our arugula. Yeah. So as far as volume, the radishes definitely take up the vast majority. We've got arugula, radishes, broccoli. Radishes, I obviously grew 2 trays, so that would make sense. Here's like 1 tray of radishes, maybe. Split between these. So split between these 2 piles, we've got 2 trays of radishes. We've got 1 tray of broccoli, 1 tray of arugula. So the arugula I probably could have gotten more if I would have, but that was my, if I would have cut it better, but that was my first cut there. So yeah, that is 4 trays of microgreens harvested and ready to throw in the fridge. So that is that. I will upload these 2 videos. It has been an adventure. I am very tired. It's been a long day. But I am very excited to have this done. Everything's harvested. No huge problems through the whole process. It is day 13, I believe. And we have a large harvest of microgreens. First trays ever grown. So yeah, you can do it. I will grow more stuff and rant more in the future If I can find somewhere to throw all this soil and find a quick way to sterilize these trays, I might just start another 4 or 5 trays tonight. Depending on how tired I get. So, have a good night. This has been a good 30-45 minutes of harvesting stuff. Probably pretty boring, but in the future I might edit it down into something a little bit more watchable. So yeah, have a good night. Peace. God bless.